The question in this video's title has one simple and definitive answer: no. However, I still think this is an interesting topic to address, because I've seen in the last months an influx of posts on social media relating TF2 items to NFTs, be it as a joke or as a serious discussion. We've even seen some very disgraceful NFT projects abusing the popularity of people loved by the TF2 community. So it is kind of hard to not have an opinion about this trend. Now, I have to preface this video by saying I have a general distaste for cryptocurrencies and a very strong personal bias against NFTs and what they stand for. If that's a problem for you, feel free to leave the video. If you're still here, then let me explain you why TF2 items aren't fundamentally like NFTs. Let's start by addressing the easiest part of this discussion. What do TF2 items have in common with NFTs? Well, they are both digital goods, which have their value rated mostly by their scarcity, among other factors. Also, both TF2 items and NFTs have some collectible aspect to them. They are often marketed as items you purchase to express your personal taste and personality. That's where the similarities end, really, and if all we care about are those aspects, then we aren't really talking about what makes NFTs what they truly are. It isn't for no reason that the term NFT has become a buzzword in the media recently. This technology has some very significant differences when compared to older, more traditional ways of handling ownership of digital goods. So, what actually is an NFT? The term stands for non-fungible token. Let's break that down. A token can be understood as a device or a key used to gain access to an electronically restricted resource. That concept is relevant to understanding NFTs because one of the defining traits of this technology is that they are registered on some blockchain, being the Ethereum blockchain the one I see most people talking about on social media. A blockchain is a growing list of records linked together using cryptography. It is decentralized, meaning it is shared, replicated, and synchronized throughout different nodes geographically spread across multiple sites, countries, and institutions, all which work together to authenticate and validate the data stored in it. You can think of it like this. Imagine you and your friends play basketball matches together every Sunday, and you want to keep track of your game's score on a piece of paper. One of you could be put in charge of registering that information. That would be the centralized approach. It is a very quick and efficient way to keep that record. You'd waste only a bit of paper and some ink, but it can be more vulnerable. The person put in charge of registering could alter the data without the others knowing, or could make mistakes when writing it down, or could even damage the registered information, losing it forever. So instead of that, you decide each one of you will make a personal copy of the score record. Whenever you want to check or alter the registered score, all of you have to get together and then check each one's notes to evaluate what is the current score. That decentralized way to keep data is generally less prone to failure, but it is less efficient. You all spend more paper and ink, and it will take collectively more time and effort to keep track of the score. This isn't a perfect analogy, but it should give you a picture of the idea behind this technology. In the case of real blockchain technology, this lack in efficiency is generally seen in the amount of energy spent to run these decentralized systems, which results in a concerning carbon footprint when all it does is simply keep a record of data. So what does this have to do with NFTs? Remember when I said a token is some sort of key to gain access to an electronically restricted resource? Well, that resource could be a piece of data encrypted in a blockchain. So you can understand an NFT as a key that gives you exclusive access to a piece of data that is stored in a digital decentralized record. When people buy an NFT, they are buying that digital key that grants them access to some specific content and therefore grants them some sort of theoretical ownership over it. TF2 items and most other digital goods in gaming up until now operate on a very different basis. Their records are kept on a centralized server network. Have you ever found yourself not being able to equip your TF2 items? Or have you ever noticed that sometimes your TF2 inventory will be inaccessible and the game will tell you that the item servers aren't responding or something like that? That's because Valve's centralized server network, which holds the record of who owns which item, was down at that time. Usually that happens for scheduled maintenance, but in some extreme cases it can be due to high traffic, like when an update just hit the game and everyone wants to get a drop of the new case to sell it on the market. So the essential technology that makes NFTs what they are, the blockchain, isn't used in TF2, neither in mainstream gaming in general up to this point, because gaming companies have historically preferred a more resource-efficient centralized record instead of a decentralized record that is less resource efficient. That alone is enough to set TF2 items and NFTs apart. I imagine if you ask NFT fanatics, hey, would it be okay if I kept all your NFTs in my centralized database instead of in the blockchain? Most of them would tell you to beat it, since NFTs are what they are, non-fungible tokens, in part because of the blockchain technology that enables their concept. But what about the F in NFT? NFTs aren't just tokens in the blockchain, they are non-fungible tokens. Fungibility is the property of a good whose individual units are interchangeable. For example, gold is fungible in the sense that an ingot of pure gold is equivalent to another gold ingot of the same amount and purity. NFTs are not fungible because each one of them is a uniquely identifiable token in the blockchain. Each NFT is supposed to be, by design, a unique asset. Sure, there are ways to circumvent this design philosophy, such as registering the same content, like an art piece, twice on the blockchain with different tokens, which is something that anyone could do and there doesn't seem to be any restrictions on that practice. But the general idea of it is that every NFT is, or at least should be, unique. And because NFTs are not the content, but the tokens that point to said content in the blockchain, they are indeed unique, even if the data they grant access to is not unique. And if you'd allow me to share my personal opinion here, I'd say I find this whole concept very dull. The TF2 item system, on the other hand, isn't designed like that. Every single item is not meant to be a uniquely different asset. The system is built in a way so there can be multiple instances of the same asset. For example, according to backpack.tf, there are about 64,000 known instances of the earbuds in TF2 inventories. Sure, they all have unique identification numbers on Valve's database, but they are certainly interchangeable, so much that traders use them and still use to some extent as a fungible token, as currency. That's also very easy to see with low-tier items. A common hat with no special tools applied to it is usually worth exactly the same as another hat of the same type and with the same properties. They are, unlike NFTs, fungible, and that's because, again, TF2 items are designed like that. The system is made so there can be multiple instances, copies if you will, of what is essentially the same item. even if they have unique IDs which are simply used as a way to tell who owns which copy of said item. This is true even for very high-tier items. Even the fabled Burning Flames Team Captain, of which there are 10 known instances, as expensive as it is, would be interchangeable, fungible, when compared to another Burning Flames Team Captain, considering they don't have spells or any special tools applied. But what about very rare one-of-one unusuals, you might ask? In that case, I would say they are non-fungible, but not because TF2 items are non-fungible. In cases like this, what happened is solely that no other person had the luck to get the same combination of hat and effect from opening cases or crates. But that doesn't mean that getting another instance of such a hat was impossible. At any point in the past, it was possible that some lucky person would get another hat like that, and the one-of-one unusual would then become one of two and be perfectly fungible, just like any other item. If any TF2 item becomes non-fungible, it's simply because of the randomness inherent to the unboxing system in TF2, not because they were intentionally designed to be non-fungible, as is the case with NFTs. In short, both NFTs and TF2 items are collectible digital goods, priced partly due to their perceived scarcity. Each NFT is designed to be a unique asset, and what enables their core concept is the decentralization of the blockchain technology. TF2 items are designed to be different instances of the same asset, and they are kept on a centralized database. Both TF2 items, and gaming microtransactions in general, and NFTs are ways to part people from their money, but the methods to achieve that and the implications of those methods are vastly different. As much as I criticize Valve here on this channel, I have to admit that at least Valve's way of doing it has arguably a much lower carbon footprint, doesn't support an activity that often causes energy blackouts in foreign countries, doesn't enable plagiarism and digital art theft, and doesn't completely leave the gates wide open to money laundering. In addition, if you ask the TF2 community, most people will probably say that spending lots of money on TF2 items is a very bad financial decision, although harmless if you aren't compulsive about it and have the money to spend. That's very different from what NFT people do, desperately trying to convince everyone that spending their savings on ugly JPEGs stored on the blockchain is a good investment. Personally, I feel those crypto enthusiasts do that because they know they can profit at other people's expense. They want you to buy into their talk, they want you to cave for the fear of missing out on the next big thing, and they use that to get your money, leaving you with an empty promise in your hands, or rather, in your crypto wallet. You might even spot some people doing just that on this video's comments, which would just prove the point I'm trying to make here. I personally choose to stay away from this whole crypto and NFT stuff. Perhaps 10 or 20 years from now, those technologies will be less damaging to the world and to society. But right now, I feel it is very bad and shady stuff for sure. I'm actually glad Valve decided to ban NFT and crypto games from Steam, regardless of whether they've done this to protect their monopoly or because of public concerns regarding all these things. And I hope more platforms do the same, even if only after public backlash. It is no wonder why the majority of game developers isn't presently interested in NFTs. So that's it, I'll finish this video here. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like and comment below what are your thoughts and feelings on this matter. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss my future content, and consider supporting me directly by sending me a Ko-fi or becoming a channel member if you appreciate my work. I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.